Hello, thank you for downloading another episode of How to Have a Wedding as Individual as You Are. Today I'm chatting to Philippa Kettlewell. Philippa is an absolutely amazing artist. She creates really vibrant pieces with lots of detail, lots of colour, and she creates all sorts of bespoke pieces for her client. Now, Philippa is also starting to create wedding stationery that looks really different to what I've seen before. What's also really unique about Philippa as a guest on the podcast is that at the time of chatting to her, she was planning her own wedding. So she was in the later stages of putting together everything for her big day. And she gave really useful insight into her experiences and what it was like as a bride to be, and some of the frustrations, some of the things that worked and that didn't work. And as a wedding supplier myself, I find that really, really useful. So if you're listening to this and you're planning your own wedding, there's probably lots of thoughts and feelings that resonate with you. And if you're a wedding supplier listening to this, I think it's really useful to remember some of the frustrations and some of the challenges that face couples when they're getting married and finding suppliers. You might remember a few episodes ago I chatted with Heather from Sash and Veil. Heather and Philippa actually share a studio. So a little bit like with Heather's podcast, the sound is a little bit tinny because we had to go downstairs and record in an old police cell. But again, the great content overrides a slight dip in sound quality. So don't panic, it's not going to hurt your ears, and there's going to be lots and lots of food for thought. So once again, enjoy the podcast. Hi Philly, welcome to the podcast. Introduce yourself and tell the listeners what you do.
My name's Philly. I'm an artist and designer. I create wedding stationery. I run art parties, which is a bit of art therapy. I specialize in pet portraits, so anyone who has a fluffy and loves their fluffy, I paint beautiful portraits. And then I do bespoke commission. So if you can imagine a piece of art in a space but you can't find it, I can work out what's in your head and paint it on a piece of canvas.
Wow, fill that space.
Yeah.
Wonderful. So we're going to talk a little bit about your art in general, and we're going to talk about your wedding stationery. And also what's really interesting is that you're planning a wedding at this moment, although by the time this podcast goes out, the wedding has probably taken place. So we're not going to give any secrets away to your other half, but there'll be no plot spoilers or anything. But that's really interesting. So not only are you beginning your journey in the wedding industry, you've experienced the whole planning process as well very recently. So that's going to be really interesting. But let's start with your work as an artist. What's been your professional journey up until this point?
Well, I studied art, but then I dropped it because nobody makes a career being an artist, and that was my mindset back then. So I head off to work on cruise ships.
Oh, okay.
And I started in the beauty industry. I did one contract. I couldn't stand it. Working in a spa just wasn't my thing. So I changed to photography.
Wow.
I was a ship photographer for onboard ships 9 years.
Wow.
But I changed and went into the technical side of things,
Okay.
and I realized I was actually quite good at that. So I got into IT and IT project management. And when I started working for the company I worked for, they used to print everything speculatively. So we print everything, display everything, and then sell whatever people wanted. Whereas I was part of the journey where we changed everything to digital and delivering everything digital on kiosks using facial recognition software. So when I left ships, I went and worked in the Miami office, and I went specifically into software development. So it was very different to what I do now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was project managing everything from the user interface to the back end and how we went from taking the photographs to delivering them to the guests. And then after working in the Miami office for a few years, I worked in the Cayman office.
Wow, you travelled.
So yeah, I worked in Grand Cayman, lived there for 5 years, working directly for the owner of the company, because he had a lot of interest in the digital and basically technology side of the company. And then I met my other half and I moved to the UK for him almost 4 years ago. And when I moved here, I continued to work for the same company, but from home.
Okay.
Work from home. Yeah, and after a year of being in a new place in a little village where I didn't know anyone, working from home with no reason to leave the house, Philly no mates just wasn't working out.
Philly no mates, I like it.
So I decided I needed to work with people again and not work from home, and I resigned-ish. I still continued to consult for the company that I'd worked for 17 years by this point, and decided I was going to get a job in London. Did the whole commute thing, got a job, decided I didn't want to do that. So while I was going through the whole applying for a job process, which was a very new experience for me after working for the same company for 17 years, it was a bit soul destroying, to be honest, like putting a CV out there and interviewing, and I started painting. And Greg, my amazing other half, was a bit surprised by what I could produce and said, well, why didn't you make a career out of that? And I was like, don't be silly, people don't make a career out of art. And anyway, yeah, I kind of went from there.
Wow.
I decided to do a course, I called just a business enterprise agency to weigh up the feasibility around starting a business and really assess it from a financial standpoint. I also did neuro-linguistic programming with Emma McNally, who's amazing and achieved greatness, and I had a mindset shift. So yeah, I mean, I've been through a lot with moving country and changing career and getting married soon, so there's been a lot going on.
A lot going on, yeah.
That's pretty much how I ended up getting back into my art.
Yeah, and as you say, you're getting married and now you've got into wedding stationery.
Yeah, so the wedding stationery was interesting. When we were planning our wedding, I looked around online and looked at what was available and did a bit more digging, and I was like, this is really naff. I was like, well, I'll just make something. So once we'd chosen our venue, I decided to do a painting of the garden we're getting married in, and then just do a simple card invitation. And I put that out there and invited people, and a few people saw it and said, oh, you do that? Can you do that for me? So a good friend of mine's getting married, and I did a painting for her. They're getting married in Italy, and then she referred me to someone in London that she used to work with, and I did a painting for her, and now it's just taken off. Word of mouth.
It's the best advertising there is, really.
Yeah, and I think it's just different what I do.
Yeah, it is really different. So that leads me on to the next question I had for you, was about your art and what inspires you and how you sort of approach a creative project.
You know, when your wedding day is a special day, and everyone has a picture in their mind of what it's going to be like, everything from the colours to where they're going to get married and who's going to be there. And for me, it's about getting to know the bride and groom and their story, and to make sure that I capture that in the art so that it carries through. The look and feel of their day carries through in their art. Everything I've done so far has been mainly the venue, but interestingly, I did one for a couple in Italy, and they're getting married around this really beautiful fountain that's close to a castle.
Oh wow.
And then it's next to this other building. So I moved the castle closer, and I moved the
artistic license.
The building a little bit further away. So I used my artistic license totally to create something beautiful. And then the whole concept is I do that painting, and it's your painting as a keepsake. So
wow.
I can do something on, like in the open space where the text will be saying, for instance, on R1 I've done Philly and Greg established the date where and then that'll hang in my studio at home.
Wow, so you don't just get the stationery, you get a piece of original artwork as well. That's fantastic.
And when I started, I would just do the art and then get a digital file and give it to the bride and groom, and then they would go and find a printer, and that's quite challenging as well.
Yes.
So everything from the paper finish to how much information you want to include to what size, sourcing the envelopes, getting someone who can actually do it. So that's the side I've got into now as well. And just being a one-stop shop, so I can help you from the wording. So if it's your mum and dad are paying for the wedding, then I can do they're inviting you. Or if you're a couple that are paying for your own wedding, I can make it formal, informal. And that's quite taxing, doing all that research and finding it. And I found that planning my own wedding.
Yeah.
You know, it's great to just have a one-stop shop where this is generally tradition, this is what you can do, like totally, it's your wedding, you do what you want to do, but just to simplify things for people. Because I spend so much time online looking for how to word things. What paper finish am I going to go? Where do I get the envelopes from? All of that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's very rare to find somebody that's a one-stop shop but also bespoke, because very often if it's a one-stop shop, you've got set designers to choose from, whereas you're offering all of that and a totally unique design as well, so that's really different.
I guess the other thing was also like save the date cards and thank you cards, so you can carry it through. Like the one actually for our wedding, we're going for peonies and lithianthus, that's how you say the type of flowers. So I painted those flowers on the side of the painting, and I've continued that and used it as the common threads on the thank you cards. I'll do that, and even I've had cushions made for my mum and my mum-in-law to be.
Lovely.
With those flowers embroidered. So it's a continuation of the theme, and I think that's what it's all about for me. It's really offering that personalized, bespoke service that's tailored to an individual.
Yeah, absolutely.
And giving them what they want, and not having to take something off the shelf, which is a bit like naff, as I say.
So how has your wedding planning been in general? What has been your experiences? Has it been a entirely positive experience? I think I'm going to know your answer. Tell us about your experiences.
I think it has been a positive experience because it's really exciting. At the end of the day, though, you have to be quite strong-willed and put your foot down and say, it's my wedding and it's my day.
Yeah.
And this is how I want to do stuff. And this is my budget. And this is how I want it to look and feel. And this is who I want there. And because you're going to find that there's a lot of external pressure, whether it's from trends.
Yeah.
Where you think, you go on Pinterest and the stuff just comes flooding in and you're like, what, I have to spend money on that? No, you don't. No, you don't. There's also going to be a level of expectation from your family and friends. And again, it's your day and you have to decide what you want to do. There are a few things that I wish I'd known, but I've never planned a wedding before.
No.
Getting married for the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
I've chosen to plan the wedding myself because I'm an organised person. I come from a project management background. And yes, I did a lot of research, but you don't get everything right and you're going to make mistakes, and it's okay because you can recover. But an example, on my invitations, I put the RSVP date 8 weeks before our wedding. Not early enough. Put your RSVP date at least, I'd say 12, 14 weeks before your wedding, because you'll be amazed. The caterer wants to know numbers.
Yeah.
The seating plan is quite a political and tedious thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
They say your wedding invitation list and the seating plan will be the most political thing you ever do in your life if you don't go into politics. So,
yeah,
I totally get it now, you know. So there's been that. I think you've just got to be strong-willed, and I think planning and deciding up ahead with your partner, this is how we want it to look and feel, this is how much money we're going to spend, these are the things that are important to us.
Yeah.
Because with us, like even choosing the venue, we went off to look at a couple of venues and I came away completely overwhelmed and I was like, oh. And then I said to Greg, I was like, let's just sit down and write down what's important to us.
Yeah.
And for us it was things like, my dog has to be able to go to the ceremony. You know, I want to get married and have the reception in the same place.
Yeah.
I don't want corkage. I want to be able to choose my own caterer and not be tied down to the caterer at the venue. So what that did was just narrow the list down completely.
That's what setting your priorities really helps to do, actually. Yeah.
And I think that took the stress out of, because literally we looked at 2 other venues and made a decision, because it just simplified things. And even like selecting a caterer then was about, okay, this is our price point that we can afford. Find the caterers, do your research on who the people are that come with the best recommendation, and then go with someone who, I know this sounds ridiculous, but gut feel wise, you know you can trust them when you meet them.
You do have to listen to your gut sometimes.
Because I don't want to be stressing on the day to think this person's not going to turn up. Are they going to turn up?
No.
Are they going to deliver? Are they, you know, and that was a big driver for me when I actually selected my caterer. And initially, because I'm quite arty, I thought, oh, I'm going to do my own flowers. I'm just going to order buckets of flowers and do them. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, the day before the wedding? Yeah, I don't think so.
No.
So again, it was about finding someone that I trusted and that was within my price range, that would do the flowers and create the look and feel that I wanted. So, I mean, I've gone off on a tangent there, but...
No, definitely. I think a lot of people that are listening and planning their wedding will really identify with some of the things you said there. Did you do wedding fairs or anything like that?
So wedding fairs were another thing for me that I went to one, and it's quite a typical one in the area. It's very heavily advertised. Went to it and I found it was quite funny because we got there and we'd taken Greg's parents with us to help them feel part of the process. And they had gone ahead of me towards the entrance, and I was standing talking to this company that specialises in looking after your dog during the wedding, right?
Yeah.
So I was busy talking to them. Next thing I look up and they're standing at the entrance and calling me. So I go over there and they said, "Are you the bride-to-be?" And I'm like, "Yes." Fill in this form, and I filled it in, and then they put this massive big sticker on me that said bride-to-be. And they gave me this bag of tat. And I just found the whole thing very kind of overwhelming because we decided before that what we wanted, and so I didn't enjoy the whole pushy environment. But I know some of the other, like I work with, I share a studio with Heather from Sash and Veil who makes veils, and she was saying you've got to be very selective to the type of fair you want to go to. So I decided against going to any others because I knew what I wanted. So I had decided to just simplify my life and not go to a whole lot of fairs and get overwhelmed.
You don't need the big sticker and the...
No, I don't like being the centre of attention, so I've got to get over that before the wedding. I'll do some reframing.
But again, it's a different kind of attention in a way, and it's people you know, and it's
different.
If you want a low-key wedding, you plan a low-key wedding, don't you?
Yeah, so. And I think, as you say, it's not a hard sell kind of environment. At your wedding day, it's being it's different.
Wedding fairs can be very hard sell, and it's
but I think the biggest thing for me with the wedding coming up is got to look after yourself through the process as well. I put a lot of pressure on myself to really deliver the perfect day, and having decided to plan everything myself and organize everything myself, it's added to the pressure. So if you do make that decision, make sure that you actually accept help for the people in your life that do offer to help. Because even selecting the makeup artist was quite an experience for me, and I found a really lovely makeup artist who's made me feel really comfortable. But one of the things with me when I'm anxious is I break out.
Okay.
And then when you go and see a makeup artist, you think they're going to be judgmental and you're worried. And the makeup artist I selected was so wonderful. When I got there, she's like, darling, you're going to break out on the day. That's why you have me, so I can fix you. So it's
having suppliers that understand you.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly what it's all about. And going through the process of planning my own wedding, that's who I'm going to be in through the whole invitation or the stationery process with brides and grooms.
Yeah.
It's giving them that service where it's their day and it's about what they want and what they're prepared to spend. And promoting self-care. So
yeah, I think that will really help you provide a top class service because you're new to the industry and fresh in your mind is all of your experiences as a upcoming bride. So I think that can only be a positive, really, definitely. Brilliant. Do you have any tips for couples in terms of incorporating art into their wedding and thinking about colours and styles? And how did you approach, obviously you're an artist yourself, so you probably had quite a strong idea of what you wanted, but a lot of people won't have that artistic side.
The best idea is to start off by deciding the type of day you want. So do you want a relaxed day or a formal day, and kind of what's your budget and what's a rough idea of your guest list. And then once you've decided on your venue, I think that kind of drives
the style and the art.
Because that's the hard canvas that you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Obviously, a lot of venues have that opportunity to decorate them and soften them, but I think you take it from there, and then it's about using the venue or the area you're getting married in as the focal point. So there's some art I did for a couple that's getting married on a lake in Italy, and the focus has been the lake in the art.
Yeah.
So it can be regional. And then another thing, it can be flowers or foliage or something. So that's been another big common theme, is people focusing on their flowers and how the space is decorated and using that as a common theme. So I think it's, once you've decided on your venue, then the next would probably be your coloured scheme.
Yeah.
And then using that and incorporating it.
It must be very hard to think of colours before you even know where it's taking place, because it's all out of context and you've got no idea of the space that you're going to be in.
And I think if you have a favourite colour, there's always a way to incorporate it in, but you'll probably find that that'll drive you anyway in the way you choose your venue in the first place.
Yeah, that's true.
I think your values are a lot behind. It drives the
It all
process.
links together, doesn't it, really? Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So it's like you say, it's starting from yourself as opposed to external pressure, and then it's going to come together a little bit more organically, I think.
And I think, I used a couple of tools. Like when I went to that wedding fair, they gave it was quite a long way before our wedding. We booked the venue 19 months before our wedding, because venues are quite hard to get if you want a specific day. And that was one really useful thing I got. There was like this little list of everything you need to think about 12 months before, 6 months before, 3 months before. And what I did is I went through the list and said, well, I'm not doing that, I am doing that, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And then I created my own lists.
Yeah.
And then I started deciding, so it said things like select the venue and do your guest list, and so it tells you all the different
things you need to. Yeah, it's finding that balance, because when I wrote my book, I didn't want it to be that list, because those lists already exist, so I didn't want to repeat what was already out there. There is obviously a lot of value in knowing what you need to do when, but it's very formulaic and assumes that every wedding is very, very similar in how it plays out.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it's totally up to you. You don't have to feel like you have to do favours, for example.
No.
We're not doing favours. I just think most people leave them on the table when they go. And that's my experience when I go to weddings. It's just do what you want to do on your day. And I think I just wanted a starting point.
Yeah.
So that really helped me from a starting point standpoint. But I think reading your book helped as well.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. You know,
Yeah,
it just focuses you on it's your day and
blocks out some of the noise, hopefully.
Exactly.
Because there's a lot of noise going on.
That's exactly what it is. It's noise, right? And that whole expectation. And you're going to deal with it all the way through, so you've got to be pretty thick-skinned.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still dealing with some comeback on things, you know, like not having kids at our wedding. You know, that doesn't always go down well.
But if that's your choice,
that's your choice.
Yeah.
Or the day we've chosen, it's a weekday and doesn't always go down well.
No.
It's the last day of term, you know, those kind of things. And I understand people have kids and the logistics around organising it. So get your invites out early, get your RSVP date, not too close to your wedding, so you can finalise those kind of things and get that list done. Because for me, the most stressful thing is definitely being the guest list and getting
all that sorted.
Getting the RSVPs done and finalising the numbers.
Is there anything, because I always ask people to say, I wish somebody had told me before planning their wedding, and obviously you're at that point, so you haven't got that benefit of hindsight yet because you haven't had the big day. Is there anything at this point, so what we're about, when we're recording this, it's about a month to your wedding? 2 months? 2 months. Is there anything you would go back or anything going forward that you need to change at this point?
I think I'm good now. It's been about following up with people and saying, yes, the RSVP date is, but I need your answer now.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what other thing that was a massive learning for me? So coming from a tech background, I built a website for our wedding.
Okay.
And on my invitation it said, you know, join Greg and Philly, whatever, the whole invitation thing. And then at the bottom it said RSVP by the date, and then our website.com with the password. Well, hardly anyone's gone on the website. Well, actually most people have RSVP'd eventually through the website, but depending on the age group, we've actually got formal RSVP cards from people and they haven't gone on our website.
Oh, okay.
On the website I put a lot of information about accommodation, and so there's a whole tab on accommodation, and then a note about gifts and a few other little events we're having around, because I'm South African and I live in the Cayman Islands, so we have friends coming from all over the place.
Right.
So we're having like a lunch afterwards and a get together before for family, and I put it all on the website because it's like so organised. People just go on the website.
Go on there and it's done, and everyone's getting exactly the same info. They don't.
So I think I would have done a more informative invitation with a card for accommodation and an RSVP
That's interesting.
card.
Yeah. Yeah, because if it is different generations, I suppose, or even cultures, not everyone is
and maybe
that
affect
savvy.
the website as well. I don't know. It's just it's that part's been kind of, because even like gift lists. So we set up a gift list, and I didn't realize we could have actually set up a long time ago, but it doesn't actually become available until 6 weeks before the wedding for people to purchase.
Oh, right.
So it's how you communicate that information. So I kind of knew that it wouldn't come available until 6 weeks before the wedding. So I was like, well, that's great. I can just put a note on the website, and then they can go to the website and they can see, oh, now it's open, and this is the... But now it's to communicate back to everyone, okay, this information's now on the website. And so I think the smoother way of doing it is to set up the website, the gift list way in advance, give the gift list number with the information saying it's only available 6 weeks before. Because you're probably going to find most people will look at the invitation, they'll RSVP, but they won't look at it in detail until just before the wedding.
Yeah.
Because we all live a very high-paced life and information overload and noise. So you actually want something hard in your hands when you're on the way to the venue. You can go, oh, look at this, and oh, look at that, you know.
Yeah.
So instead of having to go to a website, so the website ended up being a frustration point for me.
Okay,
probably
that's
not
interesting.
Something I would recommend in a rush.
Well, thank you very much. Tell everyone how they can see your wonderful designs and get in contact with you.
So at the moment, my business is called As If Living. I'm going to rebrand though.
Very exciting.
Yeah, it's very exciting. There's been a big my business has evolved organically since I started getting into my art, and initially I thought I was going to do soft furnishings, and that's where the living came in. But I'm Philly, artist and designer. So at the moment it's asifliving.co.uk, or you can reach me on 07803 428 281. When I rebrand, I'll be artistphilly.com.
Okay.
But I'm going to have everything redirected anyway.
So watch this space.
And then on Instagram, I will create a new profile. I'm at the moment Philippa Kettlewell, but Kettlewell is my maiden name, and I seem to be married. So there's a lot of moving parts at the moment.
But I will update people as and when everything happens, and so they get to see your wonderful designs. Thank you. That's been really informative. I think people will really appreciate listening to someone not only in the industry but experiencing that journey from engagement to wedding. So brilliant. As ever, my email is info@rosswilshire.photography. My Instagram is rosswilshire.photography, as is my Facebook, and you can visit www.rosswilshire.photography.co.uk to see my work, and we'll be back very soon. Thanks very much, Philippa.
Thank you. Thanks for having me today.
Take care.